No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
When being a self-proclaimed film critic and a wannabe filmmaker, a person searches far and wide for the best of the best within the film industry, perfecting their craft by learning from the masters. But then why is it that I find myself fascinated by movies that seem to fail on all levels of filmmaking? Is it because I find some sort of comfort in living on a higher plane of existence than these abysmal films that I see so much of myself in? Is it perhaps because their failures remind me so much of my own uselessness? I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I'm on a quest to find the worst film of all time. Many details go into this search because how does one possibly come up with a conclusion for such a difficult question? The answer is you don't. I can't find the worst film of all time because then I'd probably choose one of my own homemade Saw movies. However, I can find possible contenders to showcase to you guys, and then you can choose for yourself. Therefore, today we'll be taking a look at a movie that really should know better. Battlefield Earth is a film released in the year 2000, around the same time as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And as all you alchemists know, there is no true creation or destruction, there is only equivalent exchange. Battlefield Earth was shit, so that the Lord of the Rings could be great. And when I say Battlefield Earth is shit, I mean it. Using shit to describe this film is equivalent to comparing shit to shit. It's a movie of the lowest order, and if you've watched this film before, then please do share your own experiences and thoughts down in the comments. And please leave suggestions for future films that you want me to pick apart down there as well. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like, it really helps the channel. Other than that, let's just get right into it.
Man animals operating machinery.
So before the movie even starts, there's a minute of studios who have been a part of the process of making this film, and I'm just gonna say it now before I've shown you guys anything from this film, that if I was a production company, I wouldn't put my name on this monstrosity. I'd stay the fuck away from it, please and thank you. I'd rather die from a blutophobia than be a part of this movie. Don't worry, you'll see in just a bit. So to start off, I'm going to give you guys a bit of a synopsis. Just a little summary of the plot of the film, but trust me, if it's confusing, then it's because I didn't understand it either. Basically, the movie starts off with some written exposition Star Wars style, except not nearly as interesting. It doesn't provide any interesting music. Actually, there's no sound whatsoever. And finally, oh yeah, it's in German. Maybe it's just me who couldn't find a version anywhere with English text. Even though the rest of the movie is in English, for some reason the exposition here is in German. Although I did learn a little bit of German in grade school, I don't remember any of it, so I'm just as lost as you guys are. Anyways, the plot is set many centuries after humans have lost dominion over Earth, which has now been taken over by a super strong and advanced alien species known as the Cyclos. They go around to different planets, enslave who live there and steal their resources. They don't have any ulterior motive other than just dominating the galaxy and living that 1% life. Honestly, it set the stage quite well for an interesting theme about discrimination and hope, except the scriptwriters have absolutely no idea how to write an engaging story with human emotions, so if you wanted a compelling story of rebellion, then watch Braveheart instead, and don't waste 2 hours of your fucking life. But yes, let me give it to them. In essence, this film is about an uprising from the humans still left on Earth, and it basically starts with the Katniss Everdeen of Battlefield Earth, Johnny. He's the typical dystopian protagonist who doesn't want to be stuck in a cage, and so he inspires a revolution and helps save the world from the Cyclos. Except Johnny is arguably the most boring and unengaging main character I've ever seen in a movie. Actually, scratch that, every single character in this film is boring. No one has personalities, not one person has actual character traits. I don't remember any of the names of anyone in this film except Johnny because everyone kept fucking screaming it, and Turl, the Cyclo chief person played by John fucking Travolta, who got demoted to Earth because he had sex with the senator's daughter or some shit, and I only know his name because I just looked it up. Whenever someone dies in this film, you just don't care because you don't know who that person is. There's this one human who blows himself up at the end to destroy the Cyclos planet, and he has a tear running down his face, and some emotional music starts playing, but the only emotion I felt was relief because I knew my suffering was almost finished at this point. There's just no genuine emotion to be found whatsoever in 2 hours of runtime. There's a scene in the beginning where Johnny has been out somewhere, we don't know. And apparently against the odds, he returns and he hugs his girlfriend, who then tells him that his father passed away, and then he makes a little scream. And boom, the scene is over in about 15 seconds, and we don't ever hear about his father ever again. I laughed so hard at this moment because I've never seen such a careless attempt at creating compassion towards a character in hopes of making that character relatable and loved by the audience. His father's death has no meaning at all to the rest of the story. We don't care. Johnny doesn't care. His father definitely doesn't care. The filmmakers don't care. There's absolutely no reason for his dad to have died, and no reason for so many things that happen in this film to have happened. And yes, I said I laughed at this part, which is technically an indicator of an emotion. I'll give you that. A movie can be absolutely dog shit, but if you can laugh at the goofiness and the cringiness, then at least it has something going for it. Some entertainment value. However, after about 10 minutes, the mistakes and dumbassery of this movie stop being funny and instead become dreadfully boring. The whole time I was almost falling asleep. I was checking my clock every minute, and once the film reached the 1 hour mark, I was relieved that it would soon be over, until I realized the film is 2 hours fucking long, and that the last hour would have been better spent doing literally anything else. After the film had ended, I was completely void of emotion. So badly indeed that I had to take a massive, unholy shit so that this new rip in my ass would help me feel alive again. Unless you are already depressed, don't watch this movie. The complete lack of human sentiment is a hole you don't want to be stuck in. Hell, even if you are depressed, this isn't what you need. Basically, this movie is for absolutely no one. This film just doesn't understand emotion. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Hey Turf, you were just giving us a summary of the plot, so why did you just stop and start talking about the lack of emotions? Well, very good question, my friend. It's because I finished the summary. Nothing interesting happens in this entire movie to the point where I can say the bare minimum about the plot and you guys won't lose any of the story. So yes, there isn't much to say in terms of a synopsis of this movie. It was because details of the plot are so rushed over. I'm pretty confident when I say the pacing of this film is probably its worst aspect. If you didn't know, this movie is actually an adaptation of the best-selling book of the same name written by L. Ron Hubbard. Now that book has over 1,000 pages, and it feels like they tried to fit everything into this 2-hour picture. Now I'm sure they wanted to do the book justice, but they went about it the absolute wrong way, and instead they took some of the most irrelevant details from every scene and mashed those pieces together and created a cluster of emotionless garbage. Just for reference, imagine if the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows movies weren't split in two, and every single detail from the book was fit into the single runtime of one movie, and then that film got compressed down to 2 hours. That's what watching Battlefield Earth feels like. This could act like a lesson to up-and-coming filmmakers. Pacing is important. Take some time to flesh out your characters, the motivations, the consequences, and the emotions, and cut out all the insignificant shit, and you'll have a much more satisfying movie to watch. Without the right pacing, even the most amazing movie in every other aspect becomes almost unwatchable. And of course, I know this is difficult to do. It requires a lot of practice and mistakes to get to a point where you can write complex scripts. However, let's just hope that unlike the makers of Battlefield Earth, by the time you get $73 million to work with, you actually know what the fuck you're doing. Oh yes, you heard that right. $73 million is the budget of this film. Do you know how much $73 million is? Let me just put that into perspective for you. For $73 million, you can buy 73 million cups of coffee at McDonald's. With that much coffee, you'd be so high on caffeine that you could probably just perform every single job required to make the movie by yourself and still have enough energy to work a low-wage American job until you've earned those $73 million back. Okay, perhaps a more realistic use for this money would be to just buy a private jet for a couple $1,000,000, then fly out into space with it, and then film the movie there. Boom, you don't have to overpay your VFX artist for shitty CGI, and instead you'll have beautiful and real visuals for your sci-fi movie. Then to get back to Earth, you just get a jetpack and a spacesuit for a couple million too, and bing bang boom, you're home. Problem solved. No, but to make a comparison, the original Star Wars had a budget of $11 million. And yes, there is some inflation, but it's still not nearly as much as the $73 million used to make Battlefield Earth. However, Star Wars looks and feels better in all aspects, in both visual effects, practical effects, cinematography, actual acting, sound design, soundtrack, storytelling, and it was made over 20 years before Battlefield Earth. This is unacceptable. I haven't even properly shown you how awful the production value of this movie actually is, but let me just give you some examples. Everything looks so awful. Except for the opening Lord of the Rings-esque shot of the mountains, I was gagging at every chance I had. It looks worse than what I could do, and you guys have seen my editing. It's not very good, but it still rivals Battlefield Earth, and it gives it a run for its money. The green screens are horribly done, the costumes and puppets are hideous, and the action is just so lackluster. Let me just show you guys the extent of the enjoyment you can get out of these action set pieces. See? That's appalling, right? Actually, believe it or not, I manipulated that clip just a little bit. This is what it actually looks like. It's just so exhausting to get through because you just know that in these simple, big budget blockbuster sci-fi action movies, you at least get flashy action scenes with some cool CGI, but this movie just doesn't provide this. I was literally begging for this movie to be over, and when it finally was, I couldn't even cheer. I couldn't even be happy that my suffering was over because I was completely dead inside. I'm usually pretty great at seeing the positives in everything, even in bad situations, but the time I wasted on this abomination wasn't worth it. I guess the only good thing about me watching this movie is that at least my sacrifice won't go in vain, because maybe I can prevent at least a couple people from making the same mistake I made. So, to conclude, this movie is just not— Nope! Just kidding, I'm not done yet. Trust me, I don't want this to be the case, but I still have things to shit on in this movie. Like I said earlier, none of the characters in this film resonated with me, and alongside the piss-poor pacing given to every single scene, I think this is heavily due to the horrendously, jaw-droppingly atrocious acting by everyone. This film is littered with lifeless and emotional performances to the point where Anakin and Padme seem like Ross and Rachel. It's not even the actress's fault most of the time, it's because of the dialogue and direction they're giving. We're not given any meaningful time with these characters, we don't get to know them. And therefore when they have these inspirational or emotional moments, we cringe instead of feeling those same emotions. The script is so bad that even the likes of John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker couldn't salvage anything from what they were given. Given their talent, this is poor. Of course, it's not the absolute worst acting I've ever seen. In rare moments, it seemed real enough. It's not disaster movie, but this shit acting combined with all the other things that I've mentioned make this film one of the absolute worst I've ever seen in my life. And I don't even feel bad about shitting on it because the people who made it made some money off of it, and in the end they probably don't care. And they've probably heard it all before, from people whose opinions opinions matter far more than mine. Corey Mandel, one of the writers, did an interview about this movie, and he can take a joke about it. There's nothing wrong with failure, it's something we all have to get through in order to evolve. And even big names like John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker, people who are successful in their fields, fail sometimes. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. I've already failed more times with this channel than these people probably have in their whole lives, and I haven't achieved nearly as much. But so what? We live, we fall, we learn, we rise, and we move on. Me shitting on this movie and pointing out its flaws has nothing to do with the people who made it. I have absolutely no vendetta against them. I'm just trying to point out to both me and other film enthusiasts how and why sometimes movies can go horribly wrong. But I also want to say that it doesn't matter how many times you fuck up or how badly you fuck up, as long as you never let it keep you down. Because if you choose to stay on the ground laying there flat on your face like a bitch, then that's when you've lost. The only way to make it to the top is to never give up. I personally haven't gotten very far yet. I've made many mistakes and I keep messing up, but as long as I have the guts to never give up, then I know I can make it one day. That's what this video is really about. It's not about pointing out the flaws of a film. It's not about shitting on things just for the sake of shitting on things. It's about appreciating what life is all about. If you can't appreciate failure, then you don't deserve to appreciate success. That's the moral of this story. Nope, just kidding. Battlefield Earth fucking sucks. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this absolute wreckage of a video. I certainly had fun making it. If you did enjoy, then please do leave a like, a comment, and perhaps subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would mean a lot if you did. If you want more of these videos, then please do leave some recommendations for movies that you want me to watch down in the comments. Join my Discord and talk to other people with similar interests as you. It's completely free and the link is down in the comments as well. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, stay safe, and peace out.